Hi, welcome to the Guaranteed Retirement Guy Show. My name is John Stevenson, and I'm going to give you the keys on comparing annuity quotes. So if you want the keys to the kingdom, okay, a lot of people are wanting to know what MYGA rates are, what SPIA and DIAs, what the quotes are right now, or even what fixed index annuities with income riders are paying. And they've got an advisor that's showing them one or two things, and they're looking around for a reliable annuity calculator. Well, I'm going to give you access to one for free. So you can go to my website. It's johnstevenson.com, and there are several pages and links that you can use to search for annuities on your own without even having to talk to me. Okay. So, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to kind of show you how to use these tools. Okay. How to compare annuities. Okay. Because if you're looking for quotes and you kind of want to compare before talking with someone, it's kind of like searching for a house. If we go search for a home, it's nice to be able to look on Zillow or Realtor, any of these realtor sites that will give you access to homes. Usually we would like to kind of search on our own before we actually reach out to an advisor. Okay. I'm the same way. I feel the same way. I don't think you should be pressured into buying something until you're ready. Okay. And then of course, when you're ready, book a call. There's a link below this video. It goes directly to my calendar, and you can ask me any question you have about annuities, whether it's be fixed, MYGA contracts, SPIAs and DIAs, or fixed index annuities with income riders. We'll go over whatever your questions are. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, and I wanted to show you what you can do. Now, this is using my version of the tool. It's a little bit more robust, but I wanted to show you this first before I showed you what you have access to and kind of how to use that. Okay. So this kind of gives you an idea, and I kind of wanted to show you why it's beneficial to book a call with me if you're serious about looking at annuities further and you kind of want to look at some details. Okay. All right. So if I'm Connecticut, and this will be very, very similar to, any state that we're in. Okay. So I'm just kind of doing hypotheticals. Someone's got 100,000, they're 61 years old. They want to start income at age 66, and it shows me all the payouts. And you'll see in the beginning, see all the red, it says income can decrease. A lot of advisors will show you something that pays you a high amount, and they don't tell you it's going to decrease later on. And it's all hypothetical, but you can say, oh, wow, it's a huge amount. But then you don't realize what it is. Okay. So I'm not going to do that. I want to be able to show you the highest payout, and I want to make sure that it does not go down at all during your lifetime. Okay. I think that's what most people want. So now when I go into guaranteed mode, that changes things. Okay. That doesn't give you a 13 grand, right? That we were seeing that reduces to 7. It gives you the highest payout, which right now with this one, it's showing 10,655 with Equitrust. And then you've got F&G, and then you've got Corebridge. Now, I was just showing this to someone yesterday, and the highest payout for them was F&G and National Western. Okay, so there are different annuity contracts that are sold in different states, or just work better in different states, because every state legislator has different laws. Okay, and it governs how these annuities are sold and what's offered. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, if I were to just do an immediate payout, let's say he wanted income next month. Okay. Well, 100 grand is not going to give him 10. It'll give him 7,000. And you can see F&G is the top one, followed by North American. Then you got a couple from Emeritas, Prudential. You've got Corebridge, Nassau, and Allianz, which of course Allianz is the largest one in the world. Aspida, they've been offering annuities since 2022. Still a very good company, very strong company. Just they haven't been in the annuity space for very long. Midland's a great company, A+, and you can't beat that, right? So they're 120 years old almost. So, all right. So that's kind of how you compare when you're looking at this. Say, all right, well, if I want immediate income, what's the highest income? This is a very simple tool. It shows you, all right, that's what I'm going to get. All right. Well, what if you're 65? And you want immediate income? And again, this is a single payout, okay? Just a single payout. It's higher than a joint. Okay, well, now SurePath from Prudential is the highest. It's $7,500, okay? Well, what if I'm married? Okay, well, it's going to be dependent on how old your spouse is. Well, what if your spouse is 6 years younger? Well, it's going to be less. Yeah, look at that. So now Guaranteed Income Life is the best one for an immediate joint payout. See what I mean? You have to know your situation, and I know you do, but that's kind of what I look at when people meet with me as we're looking at, all right, well, how old are you? Are you married? I assume you want a joint payout, and most people do because they don't want it to end if they pass away first. So anyways, you can see, but it's lower. If your spouse is younger, especially as a female, they're going to live a lot longer. So the insurance company knows this. They look at the mortality tables and are like, all right, well, they're going to live, statistically 5 years longer, let's say. Okay. And so because of that, and the fact that she is 6 years younger than you, assuming that you're a male, then they're going to not only be on the hook for that 6 year difference, but also the fact that she's just going to live longer than you on top of that. Okay. So hence the lower payout. So that's just kind of how that works. Now, if I change the age, let's say you guys are both 65. It's a little bit higher. Okay. Not as high as a single payout, because remember, they're still guaranteeing it for a female as well as a male. So because of that, the payout's going to be a little bit lower. Okay. So that's just a given. All right. And then it's followed by SurePath, from Prudential and Corebridge, both great companies. And Ameritas, all of these companies, it's funny. The highest one nationwide, they're A+. They've only been around since the 80s. But the rest of these, they've been around for over 100 years. So all good companies. Okay. Don't be stuck on, I got to have A+ no matter what. A+ is good. Absolutely. And if you want just the safest and you just want the highest rated no matter what, then pick that. But you don't have to. Okay. And it depends on the amount of premium. Sometimes if you got especially if you're putting over $1 million in, sometimes people will spread that out over multiple contracts with multiple companies, or they'll just put it in a really, really big A+ company like Allianz because they're the biggest in the world. So there's lots of different strategies that you can do. Just don't feel pressured like you have to put it into one versus the other. Okay. All right. So that's just kind of how you compare. All right. And it varies from state to state. Different ones are offered in California because California has different surrender charge periods, but it's still basically the same annuities with the same income levels. Okay. And then New York, I'm sorry, guys, if you're in New York, hopefully you have a residence outside of New York, and hopefully you got a driver's license in that state of residence, because you're going to be very limited on the annuity contracts that you can get. And I don't make the rules. That's just how it is in New York. So, and most of the other states are very, very similar as well. Okay. All right. So we've looked at kind of comparing income. Okay. Well, maybe you're looking at, maybe you just want a MYGA, right? Well, MYGA rates right now are still pretty decent. You can see all the rates here. They're still in the 5s. See that? So I could just compare and look, and it's nice. Like Oxford, look at that. Oxford's actually they're actually going to be a little bit more competitive on the 6 year, which is nice. Yeah. So they've got a couple different offerings. So, and there's a lot of MYGAs here. Okay. So typically what my software will do is it'll just show you the top ones. Okay. So, and depending on the period that you're looking for, it'll show that to you. So what I want to do now is I want to go to my website and I want to actually pull up one of my annuity calculators, okay? Because there's a lot of different ways to look for annuities on my site. You're going to be able to look for SPIAs and DIAs. You're going to be able to look for income riders, okay? If you want to get a QLAC quote, you can get that as well. If you want a fixed index annuity and you just want a quote on that, there's no quotes on that because indexes are all over the place. And so you just have to book a call with me on that because there are certain indexes you want, certain indexes you don't, okay? And it just depends on your time horizon. It depends on if you want a rate cap, a rate lock or an index lock. There's so many variables on that. So there's not any kind of quoting tool for that because that's a very, very specialized and personalized to kind of what kind of growth you're looking for and everything else, okay? So just keep that in mind. But everything else, mostly what people are buying with annuities is they're buying income. So they'll usually buy an income rider with a FIA. That is the most popular because it pays the highest amount. Then you got SPIAs and DIAs. Those have been around a long, long time and they serve their purpose. Just depends on what you're looking for out of those, especially if you're looking for a certain period. There are certain things you can do with those that you can't do with another contract, okay? Such as leaving income payments to a child, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go to my site and it probably will look different when you go here, but look for an annuity search tab, okay? And I'll have multiple pages for searching for annuities, but this one I'm going to keep on here as well, just so you can kind of search as a basic search, okay? So you're going to go on to get the best annuity rates fast, and then accumulation for retirement, and then guaranteed accumulation, okay? That is the MYGAs. I'll go in here, I'll just grab a state, okay? California, age 60, investment amounts. I don't know. Oh, one thing to keep in mind for MYGAs. A lot of times you have low, mid, and high bands. What does that mean? Well, you've got low rates for anything under 100,000. Then you got mid rates that are anything above it, up to 250. And then you've got high band rates that are anything above 250,000. Okay. Not all companies go by these. Sometimes some companies will offer you the highest rate no matter what you put in. Okay. Which is great. But some also will not offer you the highest rate unless you put in a certain amount. Okay. So for this purpose, I'm just going to put 250 in just so I can show the highest out of everything. Okay. And of course, if I'm only going to put 100 grand, then some of these might give me a little bit of a haircut on the rate that they're going to pay me. All right. I'm going to look at a surrender period of 5 years. Okay. That's the term. So the top one for 5 years is a SPIDA. What you don't see here is a SPIDA does not allow for any type of withdrawals, penalty-free withdrawals. So if you're looking for the chance to be able to actually take out withdrawals, America lets you, Equitrust lets you. Okay, a number of these will let you take out certain amounts, but not all of it. Usually up to like 10% free withdrawal. Some of them interest only, like Equitrust, interest only. Okay, so this won't give you that, but it'll give you the basics. Okay, so at this point, it'll just kind of be an informational tool, and then if you want to book a call, chat some more, we can do that. Okay. But you can kind of go down there and see, all right, well, and then you can just look at all of them. Okay. I show them all. It's updated every day. So then we'll go up here and say, well, what's the highest for 10 years? Equitrust, 5.15. They've been the highest for like the last 8 months. Oxford, Delaware, Reliance, all good companies. Delaware was actually the highest like 9 or 10 months ago, last year. So it just depends. It just depends on how aggressive they want to be at different times of the year. So, but yeah, so good options for 10 years, 15 years. Yeah, usually you don't see anything there. Let's see, 20 years. Let's see, not for California. Anything for Florida, Massachusetts. Oh, look at that, Atlantic Coast. So I knew there were some states that offered the 20 years. So Atlantic Coast, 4.21. So that's the guaranteed yield to surrender. And that's typically a step-up rate, which means they'll probably start you at like a 3 and then step up to 3.5, then step up to like 5. Okay. And then they'll do that every like 4 or 5 years. In this case, probably every 5 or 6 years. And then if you take it all the way to the end of the 20 years, then the full guaranteed yield to surrender is 4.21%. But it is influenced by a step-up rate. So kind of incentivize you to keep that money in there longer. Okay. All right. So let's see if we can go back and look at income. Okay. Lifetime income right here. Just throw in a state, Connecticut. Let's say we're 64. Investment amount is 300 grand. Okay. Let's say we're a female. We're a single female. Okay. So joint, if you want joint, throw in your spouse's age. So we'll just go in here, browse quotes. All right. National Western Life. And you can see this is income starting in 1 year. Okay. So $25,279 for the rest of my life, no matter what. So if I take that out for 30 years, well, I'm taking out $750,000 of income. That simple. Okay. Followed by Nationwide, F&G, Equitrust, and so on. Okay. So that's pretty nice. Now, I might be thinking, well, I don't know. I might not take it at 65. I want the flexibility to take it out later. Well, all of these give you that flexibility. You do not have to take it out at a predetermined date. Now, with a SPIA and DIA and QLAC, yes, you do. Those are irrevocable. Okay. But with a fixed index annuity with an income rider, it gives you the flexibility of taking it whenever you want. That's why I usually recommend the flexibility of those if you're not sure when you're going to take income. Okay. All right. So you know what? I might wait till 70 because I'm healthy and I'm going to defer my Social Security income at that point too, so I can get a higher amount. So I'm just going to defer everything at that point. Okay, great. So we'll change it to 70. Now it shows you Nassau actually is the best one for that one, followed by Nationwide, F&G, Corebridge, Equitrust, Midland, and so on. I'm just curious if I can even National Western Life. So National Western Life is still good. It's $34,414 a year, but it's not as high as $36,653. So it gets to the point where you're like, all right, are you sure you're going to wait till you're 70? Because if you are, then I'd probably would push you for Nationwide versus Nassau just because you got A+ versus a B++. So I would just say stick with that because you got a very, very strong company. And the income levels are not that different. Okay, and if you want to mess around with this, you want to change to monthly, you can do that because a lot of us, we go off monthly budgets. So it's kind of easier to kind of look at that and say, well, I need more than 3,000, I need a little bit more. Well, what will 350 give me? Okay, you can kind of play with this a little bit. So, all right, well, 350, there you go. See, it's kind of nice because we're looking at it and say, all right, well, I know with NASA, I'm going to get like a 10% out of it. Okay. And so, well, nationwide. So basically a 10% withdrawal every single year. And so that's guaranteed for the rest of your life. These are all guaranteed numbers that you're looking at. So they're not hypothetical. They're not going down after 5 or 6 years. Okay. These are showing the guaranteed numbers only. Okay. And if you're single, but you might get married, that's the nice thing about fixed index annuities with income riders. They give you that flexibility to activate it as a joint payout later on with a spouse that you might be married to later. Isn't that nice? Yeah. It's really nice to have the flexibility. So I go in here and say, well, I'm still going to take it to 70 and my spouse will probably be the same age. We'll just say they're 69. Then you can see it's a little bit less, not much less, and you'll notice that Nationwide is the best for a joint payout versus NASA. See? So just things to think about. This is not complicated. I will help you with it. If you want to book a call, there is a link below this video and we'll talk about all of your life's plans. Okay. If you're single, if you're married, if you want single income, joint income, if you're looking for a MYGA, we didn't even go over SPIA and DIA quotes here. Okay. But you can go to my website and get your own SPIA and DIA quote. SPIAs are single premium immediate annuities. You put money in with the insurance company and they pay you out immediate income for the rest of your life or for the rest of a certain term or a certain period. Okay. So that's how those work. They usually do not have any cash value unless you do the cash refund, which in that case, it'll just refund whatever is not used back to your beneficiaries. Okay. So it's not usually the highest payout, but that is how a SPIA works. And they usually are not as high as an income rider will give you. A DIA, same thing as a SPIA. And so is a QLAC. Okay. They're just deferred contracts. A QLAC defers RMDs, which is nice. A DIA just defers income. Okay. So you can do the same thing with a fixed index annuity with an income rider. So anyways, I hope this has been helpful. Okay. I try to keep these videos short, but unfortunately they go long because there's so much to share. And I want to make sure you get as much information as you can before you book a call so that you feel comfortable. Okay. It's nice to get your questions answered before having to talk to someone that maybe you don't want to talk to. Okay. So I hope this is helpful. If you want to kind of just poke around my website, you want to look at stuff, feel free to do so. Okay. So again, if you want to book a call, link below this video and we'll chat. I'll ask you questions. You can ask me questions. I'm not going to try to hard sell you in anything. Okay. I'd love to sell you an annuity. If you are looking for one, I'd love to help you do it. And I can. Okay. It usually takes from start to finish 3 or 4 weeks, just depending on the type of contract and the type of funding. And I can take care of that process for you. So anyways, thanks again for watching. If you do like this video, subscribe, share, comment if you got questions. I'll answer them. And I look forward to seeing you next time.